Alright, y'all. So we finally entered the end of God Valley. We saw the end of Roxy Xebec. I say the end because we know Oda with the fake out kills and deaths. Pell! Pell! Shit. But yeah. And speaking of Roxy Xebec, that's what this video is about. This video is about my love and appreciation for the character of Roxy Xebec. Davy the spoilers, Xebec. I think he's the classic pirate. Obviously, spoilers again, he's Blackbeard's father. And Blackbeard's also the classic pirate. And it's like a gene thing. You know how, like, One Piece is, like, passing down wills and all that. And obviously, the easiest way to pass down your will is to have children. So, in about the span of, 10, 12 chapters, he has become easily one of my top 10 characters. Top 10 in appearance, top 10 in philosophy, top 10 in just power, too. You know, for your power scalers out there, he's a top 10er. He's definitely a top 10er. It took Garp and Roger. Obviously not their prime, but still, like, it took two of the strongest characters to be one of the strongest, which is why he's automatically must be in the top 10. And the reason I like Roxy Xebec is because he is an example of Oda's foreshadowing ability. From the Marines, of which is where we first hear the name Rox and where most of our prior information came from, he comes off as this evil figure, this anarchist made manifest, incarnate. And as you know, his dream is to rule the world, but not destroy the world. So, even though the Marines, obviously from their perspective, a guy like that being a pirate, it makes sense why Sengoku and the Marines as a whole would view him like that. Because this guy wants to destroy the order as we see it fit. But that's the twist. He actually doesn't want to destroy the order. He wants to just take over the order and just have himself as the king of the world. As which we know, Rox learns the secret of the world. Not the complete secret, but, one of the big ones, that the world is ran by Emu, the king on the empty throne. And I like that. I like how before we see him fully, Oda sprinkles him in, he stabs Loki. And we're like, damn, he's stabbing kids. But then that made me think about it, like, would he do that to a regular kid? Or would he do that to a giant kid? Because a giant kid is pretty much one to an adult male, an adult human male. So then once again, it's thrown into question of how evil he actually is. It's like, oh, you stabbed a kid, but also this kid's like 3 times taller than us. So, and we know Loki's strong. As a baby, he climbed back up the tower to see his mother Estrid, and obviously he couldn't ask her why, but he would most likely be thinking, if babies think that concretely, why'd you just throw me out the window? So a little stab from an older Loki wasn't really going to do anything. And another reason why I like Rox is design wise. The man looks cool. He has that like coat on his shoulder thing that Oda likes to do, like the Marines. His is like black. It's kind of like Doflamingo's if he just took his hands out the sleeves and painted it black. And another thing I like about Xebec is how he was able to corral all these strong characters. Shiki, Big Mom, Kaido, Whitebeard. 3 of them being future emperors, and he's smaller than them. I think he's shorter than Shiki. I like that. Because it's kind of like Luffy. Luffy is the shortest member of his own crew. And he looks even shorter when he does the pose where he has a flag and he's bending down. Which is probably parallels to Luffy, how like the smallest member, outside of Chopper obviously, the smallest member of the crew is actually the strongest, the leader, the captain. And yeah, and like I said, in 12 chapters, he's shot up through the ranks. I love it. And let's go into some theories. I think Rox is dead, but not dead in the sense like he's completely dead, like removed from this world. Because through Brook, we know that souls are real in One Piece. We know they are real. The supernatural world is a thing. I think his consciousness may be somewhere else. Maybe inside Blackbeard, right? Because as we are theorizing Blackbeard, because of the, Cerberus Jolly Roger, might have three personalities, along with the teeth missing, haha, teeth missing thing. It switches from panel to panel. Zoro and Luffy, when they first meet him and walk away from him, they say they instead of him, as if they can feel that there's multiple people in there. So that's my theory. I think Rox's body is dead, but his will and consciousness is inside Blackbeard. And the way he achieved that, some way, somehow, is very similar to how Blackbeard took Whitebeard's Gurgur no Mi. And maybe what Blackbeard did is a more refined version of what Rox did to him. Because obviously, since Rox's consciousness is now inside of him, he can then teach how to refine the technique to where make it so sloppy, make it more like secure. Because maybe the bond between them isn't secure. Because if Rox did it to spare the moment, he have time to plan it. Now, do I think Rox is that evil to take over his son? No, I don't. What I think he is that he's willing to help his son. And it was like, well, my body's dead, so what I'm going to do is go into you, but not completely control you, but just give you some pointers. And those pointers are what led, along with Blackbeard's knowledge, are what led to him seeking out the Yami Yami no Mi. I feel like Rox's consciousness inside of Blackbeard told him, hey bro, you're my son, my time is up, I can't rule the world, you can. I can do it vicariously through you, just like how I'm living in your body. And the first thing we need to do is get on Whitebeard's, Newgate's crew, which is probably what he would call him. He would probably refer to him as Newgate, because I see that he's emperor. I knew my man had it in him. We sail the seas with him. He's going to circumnavigate, and you look for the Yami Yami. That is step one, my guy. And we both know what Rox and Blackbeard have in common outside of like the chaos factor. So they both like history. They both like learning. And I think the combined knowledge of both of them creates a perfected version of Rox's desires and Blackbeard's desires. Because I can see that him being like, well, if we combine our knowledges, we can be the king of the world. You can be the king, and I'll just be the king in your body, just seeing it through like, yeah, my boy achieved it. Because he obviously loves Teach. He loves Eris, he loves Teach. And I feel like, above all, outside of wanting to rule the world, he would obviously want the D-Clan to continue. Which is why he would have done this body insert plan in the first place. Because, hey, this is, in a way, the D-Clan continuing. And another thing, and I like his Rox's swordsmanship. Like a cannon fire, they call it. Like he isn't slashing. It's like a hammer, a sharp hammer. I thought that was cool. Obviously, he has the color of the Supreme King, Conqueror's Hockey, and that's cool. And yeah, I think from build-up to reveal to presentation to de-escalation, Rox D. Xebec is one of Eiichiro Oda's greatest characters in One Piece he has ever written in just 12 chapters. Hell, I wasn't even that sold on Robin that quickly, and I love Robin. I wasn't that sold on Crocodile that quickly, and I love Crocodile. Or Doflamingo, and I love Doflamingo. In these 12 chapters, he has made one of the greatest villains in One Piece. A remnant from the past whose effects will ripple into the future. Like an echo in a cave as it reaches outward towards the light. And hey, that's like the allegory of the cave. Rox was in the cave, and then he left the cave when he found out Emu, when he found out the secrets of the world. His life is the allegory of the cave. And I think that's cool. Thanks for watching.